guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel, BIONIC Al Drives. I'm your host Alex and I'm Bionic and I like to drive. And today I'm going to be driving this 2020 brand new Genesis G70. This is the all-wheel drive version, 2.0 turbo, around 250 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, and this weighs in at around 3,700 pounds. This is a pretty fully loaded model, and like I said, it's all-wheel drive and it's a 2.0 turbo model, so this is probably going to be the spec that a lot of people are going to go for because it'll still handle pretty well in the inclement weather, and it's going to be the more economical version. So let's go ahead and take a look to see if this is really going to check all those boxes for most buyers, or at least in my opinion. All right, and coming around to the front here, honestly, I think this is such a good looking car. As you can see, they use the dark chrome up here instead of just like a big chrome thing in your face on this trim. This is more of a dark chrome, and I really like that. The only thing that's, I would say, at fault with this is this big old radar thing here. They didn't really hide it too well. It mostly depends on how high up the car is. On their GV80, I know they could stick it under the grill. And that leads me to my next point, that the newest iteration of this car looks pretty different than this. It's a lot more smoothed out, and the grill is their newer style grill that has a single point at the bottom. But I think this last generation, or this last, pre-facelift is still a really good design, and they didn't change too much, so I think it's still a really good option. The DRLs look really good on this. Like I said, all the chrome strips, it's really aggressive looking. The Genesis badge here looks really nice, the way it flows into the hood. There's these design lines that come out from around the badge, and then they flow off the hood here back into the side, which I think looks really good. Overall, these have a really nice presence. I love seeing them on the road, and I don't think that, just because there's a new model out, that this one looks any worse. I think it's more of a, preference of whether or not you want to go with the smoother style or if you want to go with this more harder edge style. All right, and taking a look at the side profile here, I think it looks really good as well. Overall, I would say this is a pretty good looking car, but they have this, again, that dark chrome. They have these really nice wheels here, which I think look really good, and I really like that they're a darker color, but they're not completely black. They got these two-tone mirrors here, which kind of look like they swoop out because this inside is black and this outside is chrome, which I think looks really cool as well. They got the chrome on the door handles, the chrome around the windows. And the way that this sweeps up at the end here to a point, I think looks really good as well. It's a nice little touch. This design line kind of comes from this headlight here and then goes all the way down across the body right here, which creates a nice aggressive look, as well as a little indentation down there, which is pretty common. So yeah, overall, this little shark fin antenna right there looks pretty good as well. The roof is blacked out for most of the part because of the large sunroof there. Overall, I would say it's a very nice, very, very aggressive looking car. And again, it's the harder edged between this and the new facelift one. This is the harder edged one. So if that's your thing, I'd recommend you probably take a look at this model.
And one more thing I kind of wanted to mention here is this dark chrome around the windows looks kind of tarnished, and this is a car with only 3,000 miles, so I thought that was kind of weird quality wise because this wasn't really easily like washed off. Like the car was clean, but even with your thumb, like you couldn't really remove this, so I'm not too sure about that, but kind of weird.
And coming around to the back here, I think the taillight design looks pretty nice. You just got a couple badges here, a couple indentations around here to make it look a little bit more aggressive. You got your reflectors down here. And then the lower fascia of the bumper, of the rear bumper, is painted black, a gloss black, as you can see, with a little bit of mesh here. Dual exhaust only on one side for this model, which isn't too bad. And as you can see, the H-Track badge for that all-wheel drive. The trunk opens from right here. Very wide opening trunk. Your cargo doesn't get crushed here with these covered hinges, and it's a very low opening. This is a pretty spacious trunk, I would say. And there's a handle on the inside to close it, which is very nice. All right, now let's take a step inside. Very solid dunk in my opinion. Another little thing, I guess, to reduce wind noise are these little marks on the mirror right there. So let's go ahead and start her up. Yeah, so overall, I think this interior is really nice. It's got a lot of soft touch material everywhere. This isn't stitched up here, but it's still soft touch, which is nice. This is all suede. The headliner is suede, black suede, big sunroof. Even the shade is power controlled, which is nice. You got your sunglasses holder, LED lighting, sliding LED lit. These do slide, which is very nice to keep the sun out of that extra little spot right there whenever it's hitting you just wrong. Nice engine start stop button. All these switches feel pretty high quality. They have nice pattern on them to give you a nice grip. Very normal shifter, which is nice, except for the parking button, which is not too bad to get used to. wireless charging, USB auxiliary, power outlet right here, which this also closes. Nice. Another USB in here, good enough storage. Decent, damped and lined with felt for the medium-sized glove box, I would say. Quilted. Yeah, overall this is a very solid interior in my opinion. The steering wheel feels really nice. It's heated. The seats are heated and cooled. The buttons the dials have the buttons built into them for the HVAC, although the HVAC is, you can see what you're actually changing on the HVAC up here on the somewhat small with big bezel screen, but it doesn't really bother me too much. I think if you're buying this car, you're not gonna like look up at the screen and be appalled by it or anything like that. Now if we go ahead and put it into reverse, you can see that it does have a backup camera with trajectory, as well as the aerial view, and you can even change it to see different specific spots, which is pretty useful. Another good thing about this interior, I will not be playing it right now, but because of copyright stuff, but this does have a very good sound system with plenty of bass, and it is pretty good on the highs as well, so I would say you're definitely not going to be disappointed whenever you turn up the radio in this car. Another nice detail are these Genesis door sill plates here. I think they add a pretty nice touch. Alright, so now let's go take a look at the gas cap. And one of my favorite things is this is attached and does hang in right there, as well as this whole inside is wrapped in plastic essentially instead of the car's paint, so you don't get gas all over paint. Gauge cluster is very simple and straightforward. You just have the screen in the middle as well as the analog gauges to the left and the right of it, and they have a nice little design in them which I think looks good. The stalks are nice and soft, they're easy to use, they feel nice. Paddles are a little hard to click, but we'll see how that is when I'm driving. Overall, I can't tell what things are metal and what things are plastic that looks like metal, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it still looks nice and it still seems like it's well built, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a pass. It's not like this is a really expensive car by any means, so I'm not expecting the highest of classist things. All the plastic that's used feels like really high quality plastic, so that's a little scratchy, but you don't really touch there. And it actually is soft on the driver's side. When you start it up, it's not too obnoxious. You can't really hear anything too much. I'll go ahead and rev it. It is indeed warm. Engine sounds pretty good from the inside, I'll say. Now, while the front is pretty accommodating, I'm like 5'9", 5'10", and that's why I have this front seat. Yeah, no. You're really gonna want to pull one of these if you want to sit back here. So if you're putting people back here, I recommend that it's only for short distances or if they're amputees or children. So other than that, it might be a little bit of a squeeze. However, on the plus side, once you do get back here, doors have a nice solid thunk. Materials are carried over. Feels very nice. It's hard plastic right there, but here's all soft touch. This is plastic here, so nothing's gonna get scraped up on the back here. It is a cargo net, which is probably the least favorite of the bunch storage types behind the seats. But one thing that is really awesome is they include this here, which makes putting the seat forward and back really easy. And as you can see, you can not have that much legroom back here if you have somebody tall sitting in the front. You do have these back here, which is nice. They're nice and big. Also got USB outlet right there. Only single, but still better than nothing for sure. Then you got this folds down right here for some dual cup holders, which is nice. And again, you've got this back here, which is also nice. As well as you can see, these seats are heated to 3 different levels in the back as well. You also have some lighting. And last but not least, these seats do fold down, which is very awesome. Gives you a bunch more space in that trunk, which has a very wide opening, so I have a feeling this is a pretty practical car. Let's check out this nav real quick, or let's check out this infotainment. Go to all menus. That was a little slow, not gonna lie. So let's try the engine with the sound mode from enhanced to off. I don't really notice a difference. I don't know if that only happens when you're driving or what, but yeah, let's go ahead and go for a drive. Alright, now driving the G70 2.0 turbo all-wheel drive. Let's take a look here. So first off, one thing that I've noticed is that this engine, when in comfort mode, does stop at the stoplights, and whenever you obviously stop the car otherwise. The only thing is, whenever it turns back on, it kind of does have a little bit of a shudder, and some of the lights, like the headlights, do dim, which can be a little cheap feeling, because, like, you know, they couldn't find a solution to that. There is a tiny little, like, creaking that's going on right up here. I don't know what it is, but honestly, if you have music on, you probably wouldn't hear it, but it's a little interesting because I tried to put my finger on a few things to see if I could stop it from happening, but I can't even tell what's causing it. It's kind of weird. And even in comfort mode, this thing still is pretty, you know, it's still pretty tight, it's still pretty touchy. It's definitely not, you know, Jekyll and Hyde type car, I would say. You can definitely still feel all the bumps in the road. It still feels like it's very tight-knit and very sporty, even in the comfort mode. But luckily, whenever you want to drop down a gear or two, you can just click the paddle, and even in comfort mode, it's eager to downshift, and it will still let you go right into manual mode without needing to, you know, click any other options or anything like that, so that's good. And when I was going 50 miles an hour, I was at 2,000 RPM, which is not too bad. Let's go ahead and pop this into sport and see if there's much of a difference. There's definitely not a lot of body roll in this car when taking a turn. As you can see, that was a relatively sharp turn, and it was not very fazed by it whatsoever. Let's go ahead and drop a few gears for this one. This is an uphill turn right here. Very nice, very nice. You can definitely feel that all-wheel drive just clinging to the road, which is pretty cool. Here come some more turns. Yeah, this handle's really good. It feels very, very tight and confident in the turns. And when you put your foot down, you can just feel that all-wheel drive just clinging to stay on the road. Ooh, very nice. This is a very fun car. So it seems like for low end, this has very nice acceleration. I don't feel like it's being held back by the turbo at all, and it doesn't feel like it's dead in the lower RPMs or anything like that. Let's go ahead and pop it back over to comfort and let it shift on its own. Yeah, you can really feel, because that was a very uphill turn, and you can really feel the all-wheel drive just kick in and pull it back into where it needs to be traction-wise. If you want to put it back into automatic, just go ahead and click it back down into drive. And like I said, even in comfort mode, it's still pretty eager to shift, which is kind of surprising. But you do feel a lot of the imperfections of the road. You do feel a lot of the bumps. So I mean, if you're looking for something that's super luxurious, I would probably hop on over to the G80. Even in comfort mode though, like I said, you still feel a lot of the imperfections in the road, and I wouldn't really consider this. Sport mode didn't really make too much of a difference in my opinion. So I wouldn't buy this car thinking that you're gonna get like some Rolls-Royce type of comfort and then switch it on over to get something like, you know, a 3 Series level of performance and you know, driving machine feel. But I will say that overall this is very sporty, and this does handle very, very well, and the all-wheel drive is very obviously clinging to the road, which is nice. So we're going to go ahead and take this over to the highway and see how it gets up and does at the highway speeds, because typically you will probably end up driving a car on the highway as well. So the seats are pretty comfortable overall. They got a lot of adjustments. You got lumbar adjustments, thigh adjustments. The the bolsters adjust when you put it to sport mode, which we're gonna go ahead and do right now. And I can feel it kind of get more juice going. The RPMs climb up a little bit, the bolsters tighten. It's definitely a lot more ready to pounce, I will say. That's what it feels like. If I were to put it into words, it feels like it's ready to pounce. But let's take this to an on-ramp and see how the driving does at higher speeds. As I mentioned, this is a pretty good car, I would say, at the lower ends, driving around city. The 4-cylinder doesn't really seem to be holding anything back. Obviously, it probably does need to roll through a few more gears than something like the 3.3 turbo V6, which has over 100 horsepower more and over 100 pound-feet of torque more than this. But, you know, for some people that's going to be overkill, and not spending that extra money and spending the extra money that you'd probably get on tickets might be the better route to go. So let's see how this handles on the highway versus driving around on these tighter city roads. Alright, there's a little bit of traffic right about now, but we should still be fine. This is a very sharp turn here. And again, I kind of don't really feel totally held into these seats, but again, I am skinnier than probably most people. Alright, so cruising along at 70 here. The RPMs are not even at 3,000, which is pretty good, I would say, for a 4-cylinder. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's revving out or anything like that, so that's really nice. So let's see at 70, if we put the foot down a little bit, how much power it really feels like we got. That's not too bad. Honestly, it still pulls pretty well at 70 miles an hour. I think for a lot of people, this 2.0 turbo is not going to be a bad option, especially with the 25 miles to the gallon. The V6 does get 20 combined. This gets 25 combined, so that's a decent amount of a difference, I would say, especially on top of the price difference from the get-go. The wind noise is definitely there. It's not built like a tank or anything like that, so again, with the feeling the imperfections in the road and whatnot, and the wind noise, you know, you're going to want to go for a G80 or something if you're going to want more of a luxurious feel, or a G90, of course. But this does feel very nice to drive. It is very sporty, in my opinion, and I think that if you're looking for something that's fun to drive but also very practical, this is probably going to be one of the best values. The transmission shifts very quick, I will say. It is not lightning shifts, but they definitely shift quick enough. I wouldn't complain about it. Getting back into drive is very easy. It's very quick to just downshift a couple times and pop back into drive if you need to overtake or something like that. The chassis just feels really tight in this car, which is very nice. It makes it feel very well built and well put together. And even in comfort, it is still pretty high strung feeling. Let's check out Eco real quick. So Eco, I can already feel it just downshifted, or upshifted I mean, and the gauges are green now. So I think if you want something sporty, that's sporty and also practical, this is probably the best, most stylish option for the money that you can get, because with just how nice this car feels to drive, sporting wise, again, it's not the most luxurious feeling, but it's the most fun and sporty it feels like. I wouldn't say the most. I still need to get my hands on some of the competitors' updated cars to give a direct comparison, but this car standing on its own, I feel like is a very nice option. Very practical. You've got, you know, map pockets in the doors. You got a medium-sized glove box. You got pretty good size right here. I'd say also medium size. All these compartments are pretty much medium size, because then you also got a little bit of storage right below the center stack for your phone and whatnot. The trunk is a very wide opening with the folding seats. I mean, it's about as good as you're going to get for a smaller sedan. You might be going out on a limb there, no pun intended, getting something, you know, as like new as a Genesis in terms of like overall brand. You know, it's not like the G70's been around for 40 years or anything. But with their warranty backing them up, yeah, it might be worth a shot if you want to get, you know, what's probably going to be the best value for your money. That's pretty much the segment that they're going for. And as you can tell by their new lineup, if you've looked up the GV80 or the G90 or the G80 or the new GV70, I believe, it's they got a really compelling offering with just top of the line interiors, amazing exterior styling that definitely stands out. And I would say even this pre-facelift as well as the facelifted model of this stand out enough to be, in my opinion, one of the more stylish options of the segment. Brakes feel very nice as well. You can tell this was a car made to be driven. Like, this car, whenever you're driving slow, it just feels like it needs to be driven. It feels like it's wanting you to just put your foot down a little bit more or drop a few gears. Another good thing, this car has a really nice heads-up display. It's very clear, although it's a cloudy day, so I can't speak for it on a sunny day, but it seems bright enough to where it'd be good on a clear day as well. It even tells you the speed limit of the road you're on, I guess, whenever the information is at least available. A heads-up display is something I feel like every car should have. It's really depressing that not all cars have it. It makes it so much more simple to drive because you don't need to take your eyes off the road. And it's never too much that it's like in your face and you can't see past it or anything like that. So I'm really glad that this car does come with a heads-up display. This car also doesn't really feel too small to me. So the shifts do have a little bit of time to them. Again, if you're just trying to look for a good value sporty car that's also practical, I don't think you're going to be too hard pressed by them. Yeah, it really gets off the line really quick with that all-wheel drive, even with the 2.0 turbo. It is very happy to stretch its legs out from the get-go. And like I said, even when I was cruising along under 3,000 RPMs at 70 miles an hour, it was still very happy to still give you some pickup, even to like hop up to 80 miles an hour or something like that. I wouldn't know because I wasn't going that fast. It does still sound like a 4-cylinder though whenever you're getting on it, engine-wise. The exhaust is not the most audible either, so you know, I wouldn't go for this if you want something that sounds super crazy or exotic or has pops or burbles or anything like that, which is kind of funny because the Veloster N does have those sounds, and you would think that you know, maybe with a car like this, when you got the sport package and whatnot on it, that they would include some more exhaust noise, but I guess it's a different target audience. The other nice thing is, overall, I do feel like this is a very ergonomic interior. Everything is kind of facing you and quick and easy to get to. These hardware buttons over here are pretty easy to get to when you want to get to those driver assist toggles and whatnot. And you don't have to dig through the menus to turn on your heated or cold seats or heated steering wheel or anything like that as well. It's pretty straightforward, and I like it, as well as these, as well as a few buttons down here next to the drive mode and the drive mode selector itself as well. You got the emergency brake here. It is not, you know, a lever, of course, which is not very common in this day and age. I wouldn't say the paddles are anything special, but I wouldn't say they're bad either. So there's my overview of the Genesis G70 2.0 turbo all-wheel drive. This one was fully spec'd out basically at $38,000 with the Prestige, Elite, and Sport package. The Sport package will get you those beautiful wheels. Overall, I would say this is a lot of car for the money, and it checks a lot of the boxes that I feel like actually make a difference. For example, having a stylish interior, I think makes a big difference. Having the stylish exterior makes a big difference. Rather than just packing it with gimmicky features, you have more useful features like, for one, the good sound system, and two, the ability to you know, recline and adjust the passenger seat from the driver's side. Super easy, super convenient. Every car should have that. The heads-up display, every car should have that. You know, the aerial rear view camera, super useful. It's got a lot of the things that you actually want in this car. Heated and cooled front seats, heated back seats. You know, I really like it. I think it's a pretty good car. Rear seats fold down with that wide opening trunk. It's a very complete package. I think it's very practical with the all-wheel drive, and I don't think that you're going to be missing out too much as a, you know, regular person. If you just want this as your daily driver, you're not going to be missing too much from the 3.3 liter turbo V6 option. I think this is still a very solid buy, and I think if you like the hard edge design of this one more, I don't think you're going to be missing out too much from the post facelift model as well, or I guess I should just say the facelifted model with the softer design that's more in line with their current lineup. But so that's my overview. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment below. Do you like this car as much as I do, or do you think it is stupid and dumb? Let me know. Sub if you loved it, like if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.